Hi guys, Mayflom here, and I am working on a 6x8 scrapbook. Now, I am inspired today. I'm sharing some memory keeping tips, tricks, ideas, but I'm also sharing about kits. Kits are something that I've done so many classes on and done so much with so many kits over the years. Here's my bottom line. A kit of supplies to me is simply coordinated product that, should I so choose, I can just take it and run. I can just take it and work with it. And that is absolutely fantastic, but I don't have to only work with this. I can add whatever else in I want. It's just that this is all ready to go. Some products that'll work beautifully together and that I can run with. This that I am showing you here, this is a kit from Gossamer Blue. This is their Traveler's Notebook kit. And it came in this little bag and it's so sweet. I'm going to show you their other kit options in a minute. And then it has, of course, the notebook. And isn't that cute? So you can fill it all up. Or the notebook would be used separate. These I'm going to use for this little layout here. So when it comes to memory keeping, there is not a right, there is not a wrong. I've got some pattern paper here that I just cut. This is a strip from this kit that I just cut, and I'm playing around with where I want it to be for my layout. And I think I want it to be like that. So there isn't a right and there isn't a wrong. In my case, in this particular case, and let's see, oh, that's from the other side. In my particular case, I am playing around with some ideas. And one of the ideas I had as I was working on putting these pictures together, I said, you know what? 6x8 is the perfect size for this album. It's the perfect size because, number one, everything will totally fit. And this is going to be like the exact same width, and that's fine with me. So number one, everything is totally going to fit here, and I love that. I love things to come together nicely. Number two, I can do it simply, so I don't have to feel like, these are stories I want told, but I also have vacations from years past that I still haven't told and really want to tell. This isn't going to take a lot of my time. And because it's not going to take a lot of my time, that means I don't have to stress out over it. I can get these stories told simply and beautifully, and I love that. And number three, on this project in particular, not only did it just fit in here just right, but because these pocket pages, I don't have to just use those. If you look at my scrapbooks, no matter the size, you're going to see mixing and matching of style, of technique, of what I'm putting, what I'm adding. And I believe strongly in doing stuff that works for you. Do stuff that you enjoy, that you think is beautiful, and that you like. So in my case, for me, this is going to be a journaling card. And I want it to be craft because I want it to match, but I don't have a craft journaling card. So what's a girl to do? I'm just going to make my own, and I'm just going to add my own little lines here. And the lines aren't even necessarily straight. They're not necessarily perfect. I don't care. I do want it to look nice, but I really don't care if it's just so. And I also find that when I have like scratchy lines and I've handwritten, heck, maybe I've misspelled a word and corrected it, I like those pages. The pages that are technically perfect or that I spent hours and hours on, those aren't necessarily the pages I remember the most. I am all about documenting the fun stuff, documenting the things I want remembered. And I say that and I keep that in mind because I'm not going to do my journaling right now, but what I am going to do is find myself some ephemera to stick on here. We're going to decorate this up. What I find I enjoy the most is when I'm able to work with supplies like these, where not that they're neutral, but they're colors, and that's perfect, summer stories. They're colors that will work well across many, many photographs. They're not going to be so, I don't enjoy purchasing kits, especially where the products are colored in such a way that they're only going to work with a very small amount of what supplies I have and use. I don't enjoy that because that's more work, that's more struggle. And these days, you know what? Everybody's got the same 24 hours. So saying I don't have time is always a cop-out in my world, but I have an easier time making time when there is something that I can do quickly, something I can do easily, something that I can break down into more manageable chunks. And something that I love about kits, and I've always loved about kits, is by having some pre-coordinated products, it's just going to make life that much easier. I'm thinking about using that maybe over here. I think I like the blue one better. It's just going to make that much easier for me. Now I'm going to add my journaling at a later time, since I do not try to film and talk and write all at the same time. But that'll be all ready to go. If I can just get everybody to play nicely. There we go, and tuck right in there. So this will be like so. This will be like so. I could add more here, but let me tell you something. I don't always like more when it comes to my scrapbooks. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I really like to get into it. But for me, I'd much rather have a complete album where I have the stories told, I have the photos, and I can look through it. That means more to me than having 1 or 2 pages that took weeks, hours, a lot of time. And I like that says admit to, but that's 3 of them, so I won't put that one on there. These are so very cute, but they're not necessarily, I don't have any of these that are perfect for, oh, except the black heart. We can use the black heart. I place my value in having things that I can, see and feel and do. So I really appreciate when companies are making good quality kits such as this one. I love that because it means, and if you want to cover up, here's another tip for you. Let's say you don't necessarily want the word that's there. I didn't particularly mind it, but let's say you don't want it, just cover it up. Just cover it right up. No problem. So I really appreciate time savers. It's much easier for me to break things down in smaller chunks of time. And that is a big reason why I've been doing a lot of divided page protector pages, where I can get things in whatever time that I have today. Tomorrow I can come back and add a little more, add a little more, add a little more. And I can keep going along those roads. I can keep coming back into this very page to a different page. I can keep coming back and adding little details, adding fun little bits and pieces as I have time, or as I think it should be. I mean, maybe, I come back and I think, oh, you know what? I wish I had had this or done that. Well, now I can, no problem. Easy as can be. Okay, so what I do when I've got all these different pieces, I tend to kind of look one piece at a time. The first thing I did, obviously, was figure out I wanted that pattern paper, and then I wanted to kind of do a mirror image thing where those 2 long skinny strips are both in the middle, and then everything else on the outside. Then I figured out this is a blank block. As I put this together, you can see the other side, it has pictures. This, I'll have to add something. We'll deal with that later. It's not the first page. The very first page will be this one, and I might use admit to on here. We'll see. But the very first page, it says Natural History Museum, is going to be this one. So I'm not worried about a title. As you're flipping through the album, you'll already know where we are. It's going to go in that kind of an order. And I keep these things in my head as I create, because sometimes for me, that really makes a difference in, how I see a project, or how I like how a project is going, or don't like how a project is going. Knowing how it's going to fit in with other things, assuming it's scrapbooking. Now, I spoke of memory keeping in general, and that, this is obviously not the only way. So this is a 6x8 scrapbook, and I've really come to love these I've used them in the past for various trips where usually it's a vacation, where it has enough photos that it's just too many to fit in the one album a year I tend to do for the whole family. But it's not enough to do a big 12x12 vacation album. So to me, it's a nice middle ground. I like that it gives me some options. I like that it gives me some freedom. Simple Stories makes really nice ones and they've got all the different page protectors, so I can go from full 6x8 to 2x8, 4x4. There's lots of different sizes in here, and I really appreciate that. So I'm just loving this as it is. To be honest, I just think it's an absolute delight, but I want to try to add a few more little details of some sort. I'm going to do, on my sewing machine, I'm going to do black stitching around here just for a fun detail, and to add some dark over here to there's a lot of dark over here with that, and there will be with journaling, so I'll add over there. Up here, I'm probably going to add a sticker, but I haven't decided which one. And then I think some of these are such fun. I am such a sucker for these type of stickers. I just think they're so much fun. So other types of memory keeping. Well, one type is actually this kit. These notebooks, a lot of people are using these in lieu of a scrapbook. It's a blank notebook and adding in pattern paper, stickers, pictures, and doing just kind of more of a journal style of memory keeping. That's absolutely wonderful. Traditional scrapbooks where it's all 12 by 12 pages, there are, well, any size where you can do a full page, or pocket pages like this come in all different shapes and sizes. You can do all kinds of different things. You could also do photo books, digital photo books, although to me, they're just not as much fun because I like getting my hands on things and adding my own personal touch to things. But there are just so many fun ways, guys, to add, to create. Now, I mentioned other kits. Gossamer Blue, this is a Gossamer Blue kit. This is their June kit. They do have other kits, and let me mention those to you right now. So there is the planner kit. Now, I'm going to recommend, here's my tips for you, should you be thinking about getting into a kit club or a specific kit. My number one recommendation is you would not say, I want the planner kit because I do a lot of decorative planning. You want to look at it and say, well, what are the contents? There's some cards, there's some shapes, some washi, some stickers, some puffy stickers, and some pattern papers. I could see making cards, making greeting cards with this. I could see working in a planner. I could see doing scrapbooking with this. I could see doing a lot of different things with this. And quite honestly, this size of pattern paper I use a lot more than full 12 by 12. I so often have strips and pieces of 12 by 12 left over. So something like this would appeal to me in a lot of different crafty ways, not just the name that it was intended. I always like to think of that as, you know, kind of a guideline. The guideline being that these are designed for, you know, the average type things that you would use or might find. Now this is the Life Pages kit. So Life Pages, basically the kind of scrapbooking stuff I'm doing right here. They've got sequins, which is so glorious because especially like in these little strips, little sequins in there, and then you seal it back up. Oh, it's so cute and so much fun. They've got some really great little stamps. Now, why are little stamps great for this style? Because you can make them fit, you know, on a strip, on a corner of over a photo, cover up. Maybe there's a stranger's behind in your picture, cover that up. Lots of 4x6 and 3x4 cards. These are 4x4. That's kind of unusual. It's really, generally speaking, most of the pockets are going to be 3x4 like this, or 4x6. Okay, and this is open, by the way, because that's where those pages plop in. But there's so much other stuff we could do. Again, we could be card making with these. Look at these cute stickers and labels and shapes. I love that coffee one. Got the stamps. So these would be great for this style. And actually, when I first looked at it, oh, well, this would be perfect because, you know, and I'm just seeing how great this is designed just for this. But I could see adding in my own pattern paper. Maybe if you don't use a lot, or maybe you have too much pattern paper. There's been a phase where I had way too much pattern paper. This would have been the kit subscription I would have gone for because it would have allowed me all the embellishments and stamps and fun. But I would find and match it up to my own existing pattern paper. I'm a really big fan of using what you have, but also making what you have, you know, working around what you have as well, in the sense that if what we have is too much pattern paper, well, then we find a kit that doesn't have any. And then that's the Travelers. And then the fourth kit, and by the way, if you're watching this the end of June, early July 2017, if you're watching this then and Camp Scrap is live, there is a giveaway for some of these. So you may want to go check out my blog post if you're not already there. This is the main kit, also known generally as a scrapbooking kit because it comes with 12 by 12 papers. And then it has some coordinating cardstocks. The beauty of a kit, again, it's coordinated supplies. And the beauty of Gossamer Blue's kits, they have always been really great. But what I'm loving is these are exclusives, and what that means is this stamp, these rubber shapes, these little bits and pieces, the cork shapes, the chipboard, the enamel. Oh, look at those washi strips. Aren't those great? You're not buying these in stores. So if you're concerned about duplicating, you won't duplicate if you're going with a kit company that does their own content. These are just all, oh my goodness, I'm just loving all of these. They're so much fun. But again, this is a 12 by 12 scrapbooking kit. What I've noticed is, you know, these are the kind of the original style, and then different kits have developed off of this style of kit over the years, card making, planning, etc., etc. What I love about that is I ignore the label. I look at the contents and say, which kit would fit my needs. Now, when you're going in within the same month, typically, and Gossamer Blue is great about this kit could complement this kit if you know, had a really big project, the colors were great, you could put it all together. Or not, depending on what are you making, what do you need. You'll have to share with me if you use kits. I would love to hear how you use them, or what what kind of materials are your favorite to find in kits. I'm going to have a bunch more tips and tricks and thoughts over on my blog, as well as pictures of this once it's all finished. I'm just kind of having fun with putting little stickers and pictures, and I do love memory keeping. I love just telling my stories, reliving my vacations, thinking about the fun stuff that we did or have done, or, you know, to me, it's a lot of fun. I love, whether it's a big adventure or maybe it's just going out to dinner. I love going out and doing things with my family, but I also really love coming back and reliving it. So I love planning it, I love going, and then I love reliving it. For me, it just gets that much more fun out of each and every experience. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Again, let me know if kit-wise and that kind of thing, if you have questions, if you have thoughts, you'll have to let me know what you're looking for. This has so many good ones, good eats. This is so many great ones that I'll be using throughout this, I have no doubt. I'm just trying to decide. I don't think I want any more words. I like where it's at. And in fact, I was going to do sewing machine stitching. That's one of my favorite things. But in looking at this, what I actually want, ruler? No ruler. We're going to go no ruler. What I actually want is just a really fine, sketchy line. And oh, watch, there goes my black pen. I was going to say, oh, watch, my black pen's going to go out. It's about time for that to happen. But I like doing up a fine little black line of sorts, and I like to do, there's two different ways I like to do this. I either like to get the ruler out and go super, super straight on, so it's really, you know, just so, or I like to do like this, where it's kind of sketchy, and then I do a third one where I kind of just go really quick and light through here. It just depends. Do I want it nice and neat? Is it more of a funky kind of a vibe? It just depends on the page. Sometimes sometimes one is more appropriate than the other. The other thing doing a line like that does is, if you're the type of person that has a bunch of sequins or a bunch of glitter glues you need to use that line to dot little bits and pieces all around. But for me, I like it just as it is. I'm loving this. I am. Thank you for joining me again over on my blog. You'll find more inspiration, more photos, more ideas, tips, and I will see you next time.